This is Paul McGann, the 8th Doctor, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
Welcome to Mark Who 42's universe here on Subspace Radio. Yes, we have a great show for you today because it's all about Doctor Who. Yes, old school show for Mark Who 42. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and with me today are...
This is Mickey Mouse. I'm your new overlord. Bow before me. The TARDIS is bigger on the inside because we're adding a Disneyland to it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
He's absolutely right, folks. That's Eduardo M. Freyre. Yeah. That was
wow, you killed the joke. The joke is dead now.
I did kill the joke because the joke was just killable.
It was not killable. It was not killable. Oh, brother. We're talking about...
You're right. No, and we'll talk about Mickey Mouse and all that stuff in a few minutes. We also have...
Vicky Jakubowski.
Hi, Vicky.
You don't think my joke was killable, do you?
I plead the fifth.
Ah, you're supposed to be on my side, Vicky.
Hey, I'm the showrunner.
Traitor.
She has to stay on my side. She has to stay on my side to stay on the show.
I'm on neither side on this discussion yet.
Oh, okay. So you're Treebeard. I'm on nobody's side because nobody's on mine.
There you
go.
You got it, darling.
I see how it is. All right.
And we have one more Whovian. We have one more Whovian on the panel.
Zion Quiros.
Hey, Zion.
Hi.
Who'd have thunk we'd be doing another Doctor Who show after all these time?
Thank you, Chibs.
Yeah. Folks, we're doing this show because on the Sunday previous, on the 23rd, we had a little episode. A little episode was a long episode. Long episode, but it was a great episode, in my opinion. The swan song for the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, Power of the Doctor. What do you guys think?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oof.
Extremely fast-paced.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're going to talk a little about some housekeeping things about Doctor Who before we get into review. Okay, so it was revealed during last week on a show on U.S. television, the old Regis and Kelly show. I don't know who's doing it now. But who are those? Who do that show on in the morning?
Isn't it Kelly Ripa and Lord,
and
I can't
somebody
remember her
else.
name. Like Hoda something or other. I don't know.
No. Well, whatever show it was, Ncuti Gatwa came on. Woohoo! And he gave a bombshell, didn't he? Big announcement. Doctor Who, Disney Plus. Wow.
Yep. Now hang on a sec, because I'm a little all right. I have slight confusion.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to figure this out.
Okay.
So is Disney Plus simply just going to be streaming the new Who stuff from 2003 onward, or are they getting like all of New Who? Is it leaving HBO Max and coming to Disney Plus?
This is the story. They are definitely showing 60th anniversary and on. HBO Max still has a contract. But when HBO Max's contract comes off and it's over, most likely Disney Plus will steal it. We don't have confirmation on this, but HBO Max will not have it forever. The same goes with BritBox. BritBox may not have it forever either. They have a contract, so they can't lose it. But who knows? And the BBC does have a share of BritBox, so they may want to hold on to it. But it's definite that next year and forward, Disney Plus has the rights to. And there's a good reason for it. Okay, in England and in Great Britain and Ireland, it will stay on BBC One. Elsewhere in the world, they're trying to get a worldwide audience, so it goes on Disney Plus, which kind of is bad. I know in Australia they're up in arms because that means they have to pay for Doctor Who now, and they've had it since the beginning, since like 1964.
Yeah.
And they now have to pay for it, so they're not very happy. In the United States, it's possible that BBC America may have first airing, but I doubt it, because why would Disney Plus want it to let it go on somewhere else when they could have a streaming premiere?
No, the official site, or the official Facebook page, replied to someone saying that it was confirmed that it was going to premiere on Disney Plus.
On Disney Plus, right?
So, like, I guess we just witnessed the death of U.S. Doctor Who new episode broadcasting. So,
well,
it's odd.
But then I read something later in the week saying BBC America will still show it, but AMC Plus will not, and it'll stream on Disney Plus. So it's up in the air. They haven't completely, as far as I know, they haven't said completely one way or the other. But I would think it's going to go on Disney Plus and not BBC America, because why would they waste the show? They want to premiere it on their network, on the streaming. The other thing about this, yeah. So the reason it's good to be on Disney Plus, BBC America, when they show it, they get about 400,000 viewers around the country. How many subscribers does Disney Plus have?
Yeah. Just a few million. Just a few million.
So there is a bigger chance you're going to watch it on Disney Plus. So it's a great idea.
It's a cool idea to get more exposure, but it is, there are perils
drawbacks
to it. There are drawbacks. Like, some people, there are people who don't want to like have to put in money just to watch, okay, let me give an example. Over in my house, we have Netflix. We're probably going to get rid of Netflix.
Of course, yeah. Because
what we're probably going to do, is, we're going to get rid of Netflix, and then when Stranger Things comes back, we'll do it for we'll do it so that we can watch the end of Stranger Things,
right?
But then drop it again.
Yeah. I see that.
It's one of those things where, okay, if you're cool, if you're good with people coming in and dropping, okay, it could work. It could work. If not, it's there are going to be people who just want to do a free trial, binge the Doctor Who stuff,
right,
and then walk.
But you got the Marvel and Star Wars on there too, so it holds you on there.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing: not everybody is a Star Wars fan. Not everybody likes Marvel.
That's true.
You're not, you can't just, it's like, maybe you'll get lucky. There'll be a few that'll be like, oh, well, there's this Disney thing, there's that Disney thing.
But doesn't Disney kind of have more fandoms that they cut across than almost anybody else? Excuse me. When you think about it, while not everybody likes these fandoms, whether you're talking Disney, Pixar, the princesses, animation, Star Wars, Marvel, now Doctor Who. I mean, we know what's next for them to have the next big one. I don't want to say it out loud because
you don't want to jinx
I don't want to give, shush. But it's weird that you have all these massive fandoms in one house, and it's both really cool in terms of, oh, great, I just have to have this one service now. But at the same time, it's like, oh, great, one person controls to a certain extent, because they're just going to be the distributor. They're not going to have
it's not going to be just distributor anymore. It's not. And no, from what I read something.
What?
I read something. Disney is going to have some creative control.
No, but look.
Yeah, Disney's going to have some creative control.
That was only from what the Telegraph, right?
A much bigger budget. Doctor Who is finally going to look good.
That was only from the Telegraph, right?
Right.
That was only from the Telegraph. So, I didn't take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I agree with Zion. We take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because if we look at Star Wars and Marvel, for the most part, Disney has been hands off. It's like, that's your show. We'll distribute it. We're going to put the Mouse House name on it. but it's your thing.
No
you know, they
offense.
haven't. Yeah,
They've got Deadpool on Disney Plus, and
Yeah.
they did not change a thing.
No.
yeah. No, it's
There's
not.
no censorship.
Well, they have
going
the
on.
They have the Netflix
Yeah.
Marvel shows, which
Yes.
are also NC-17 type.
Yes, and so
TVMAs.
I'm quite I'm surprisingly happy that you know, but of course I think it has different people in charge of that compared to the parks, that you know they're not messing with that in a bad way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It might not be horrible, and
I don't think it will. I think it'll be great. I think Bad Wolf Productions, Julie Tratner and Gardner's production company are going to be they're going to make it really, really good. I think, and like I said, Disney's going to put money up, so it's finally going to get what it's been needing since 1963.
I don't know.
Okay,
I mean,
okay. That was
Doctor Who
sacrilegious.
has.
That
I
was
wouldn't say
sacrilegious.
need.
That was
Yeah,
sacrilegious.
yes,
That
it was.
sacrilegious. Yeah.
Yes, it was. Okay, you know what? I think on that note, before we like dig ourselves any deeper,
Yeah.
and when I say ourselves, I mean you.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
You know, we need to get, I think, to the special proper, and
let's
you know
get
more
to
about
it.
what we thought.
Power of the Doctor, yes. So what's everyone's opinion of this story? Not anything else, but the story itself. Can you believe Chris Chibnall wrote it?
Yes.
No.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Where was he? Where was this writer for the last 3 years or 4 years?
Yeah. Although I will say this though, it has a it does have a hallmark of Chibnall's it does have a Chibnall hallmark writing,
right?
Especially because you know what, this was, how do I put this? Okay, first of all, let me just say that I love the special. Yeah. Okay, I do. I liked it. I really liked it, and there were moments that I was like, oh, you know, OMG, this is awesome. But this was the buffet round 2.
Oh, it was. It was the greatest.
This was the buffet. It was the buffet. It was, hey, look, the Master's back, kids. Oh, and you want some Daleks? Here are the Daleks. Hey, you want the Cybermen? Here are the Cybermen. Hey, look, we brought back some classic Doctors. Hey, look, you guys love UNIT, right? I brought back UNIT. It's, you know, it was just.
Well, there was a reason for that.
It was like taking. Okay.
No, there was a reason for that. The remit for this story was the BBC's 100th anniversary. They wanted to dig into the history of Who. And they were trying to bring as much out. Did you notice it was all classic Who they dug into?
Yes.
Modern Who will probably be.
It was, well, where are all the new Who's?
60th anniversary. Next season will be Modern Who.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was classic Who because of digging into history. Did you also notice that most of the plot points were completely lifted from other plot points? It was the greatest story that Chibnall wrote, but it was also the most unoriginal story.
Yes.
Well, but it's like, okay, the other, and then this is where, okay, the biggest, and like this crystallized for me actually a couple of days ago. Because I spent all week, you know, trying to dissect it and trying to, you know, and you know, looking at it and, you know, picking out all the ingredients, you know, that went together. And it reminded me of something.
Okay.
And it reminded me of G.I. Joe, issue number 155 from Marvel Comics.
Of course you'd come up with that. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, but listen.
Go ahead.
You'll see. Okay. So 155 was the last issue Marvel Comics produced. The plot of it, the main plot of it was Snake Eyes writes a letter to the son of one of his old army buddies,
right,
who is thinking of enlisting. You know, he basically, you know, he wants to join the army, and you know, his dad doesn't want him to. They write a letter to Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes writes back. It's a beautiful issue because Snake Eyes gets into a little bit of his background, the reasons that he joined. He talks about his old buddies in Nam. You know, it's this wonderful issue, very mature, a nice way to go out.
Yeah.
But It is basically standalone. And there are a bunch of plot threads, including the fact that a couple of characters got brainwashed into the bad guys that were just left hanging. They were just kind of left there. That is how I feel about Power of the Doctor, because it was a great story, and I love the cameos, the appearances. I love all that. But the elephant in the room was totally ignored. And you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
The Timeless Child.
And
Chibnall pulled the trigger on that. Flux, Doctor Who Flux had that in the background.
Right.
With with an ending that indicated we weren't done with it.
Right.
But nothing was done with it in Power of the Doctor. It is still there. It is still out there with no indications as to where this is supposed to go.
And it may never go anywhere.
Well, that fob watch is still somewhere in like the trunk of the TARDIS, buried under who knows what. So it's like, the Power of the Doctor was great, but it left it just hanging there. Yeah. With nothing. Like, one of the things, so we did have an appearance by Jo Martin. Her doctor was, a hologram that they used as a distraction. My thing is, though, I have a question to everybody here. Be honest.
Yes.
Could that scene have worked if it wasn't Jo Martin?
Yeah. No. I think that was...
No. Why? No. Why?
Yes.
Why? Could it have worked without Jo Martin?
Maybe it could have. It could have.
Like, it could have.
Just like it you tell me. That vendor.
But here's the thing.
Vendor.
Well, here's the thing, because and I picked that out specifically because that scene where we had the Jo Martin Doctor, you could have I love the fact that we got one more appearance by Jo Martin.
Right.
But you could have taken her out. You could have had that be Paul McGonn's Doctor. You could have had that be the 6th Doctor. You could have had that be the 10th Doctor, and it could have served to set up something else.
Yeah.
But they had Jo Martin, but she did nothing. It was nothing to it was not.
In my mind, sorry, go ahead, Zion.
I want to ask a question built off that, right? The whole point of the hologram is that it is chosen based off of the person that's in the room, right? Since no one knows who Jo Martin is, why is Jo Martin showing up?
It was a fake out.
That was actually
That's a good point, though. It's a good point.
That's a good point.
Zion's right.
That's a good point. Like, the closest person who would have any connection to Jo Martin would have been Yaz, who
or the Master.
Yaz recognized her as a tour guide.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, she did.
She was like, last time I saw you, you were a tour guide here. So that I think was kind of a way to massage that in. Like, the TARDIS used but still, I feel like it could have been any of the other Doctors that we had in the special, and that would not have been a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I point out, and I think I tried shouting this in before, Vinder. What the hell was he doing there? Why was he Vinder?
Here.
I've heard rumor that it was supposed to be Captain Jack, but Berriman was previously occupied.
Yeah, you know what? Why was it Vinder? Okay, I'll tell you why, because again, it was
David from last season.
I can't even call him.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, no offense to Vinder, we'll do that in a little bit of air quotes. It was
yes.
It was he was it was trying to bring back it was the Chibnall buffet. It's, hey kids, remember Vinder? Hey, here's Vinder back. Here's Vinder, kids. It was bringing that back, and I think Jo Martin was another part of it. It was, hey, it's the Fugitive Doctor. One more appearance by the Fugitive Doctor.
It was,
but it just felt like, given her importance, I was not a fan of the fact that it was just like hologram cameo. Because say what you will about 5, 6, 7, and 8. That was a wonderful scene. It was great seeing them interact with Jodie. and it got used. And it also got used. The fact that we had Tegan and Ace, they used it so that the Doctor and companions can reunite, and we can have beautiful scenes. That was using the whole hologram thing to great effect.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk
simply
about
just
that
being,
a little later.
yeah.
But can I say something? You were saying how nothing from the Timeless Child, nothing was used, right?
Yeah.
So
nothing.
The fact that the Doctor was going to be erased from existence fits with what Time said about you're going to die for good. It kind of fit, not exactly. And then I remember. No, it does. Okay, it does a little. But here's the fake out. I was totally faked out. Zion can completely, because he was watching it with me. When the Cybermen opened up that pod, and the little child was there, I'm going, is that the Doctor? I thought it was the Timeless Child. It was a fake out. Out.
And it ended up just being this energy thing.
Yeah, it was just
it's a plot device. That's what it is.
It was a MacGuffin because it was
it could have worked if it was the Doctor. They could have made a big deal about the Timeless Child there.
Yeah. Because, but they didn't. Yeah, no. Instead it was just a MacGuffin, and it was like, oh, why was it a little child? But, in order to say, hey, I need you to save me, so I'm going to make the image of a child so that you would. It's like, okay.
Look, I still have a question, right?
Okay.
Based off the flux, we are still in a bubble, correct? Because the whole flux erased 99% of the universe. I remember
they undid that.
We're stuck. When?
Well, if the Daleks are back in force like that, it never happened.
We've had 2 episodes between then. We had the Sea Devils and the Dalek special. None of them talked about the Flux event.
Chibnall must have realized he wrote himself into a hole.
You see, that's the thing. This episode has been so fast paced and throwing so much stuff in that he's hoping that everyone just overlooks it and says, "Yo, don't look at the cracks."
Don't look at this hand. Look at this hand. Don't look at this hand. Look at this hand.
I agree. There was good and bad in the story. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I like I said, Chibnall wrote this. I couldn't believe it. In my mind, I was thinking, if Chibnall had an hour and a half for every story he told, maybe because he only had 45 minutes, he couldn't write the stories he wanted to. But then he could have made two-parters.
Yeah, that excuse of, well, there's only so much you can do with 45 minutes. Yeah, that does not hold water, man.
Okay.
That does not hold water. Either
then how did Chibnall write a good story finally for Doctor Who?
I have something to say about that, but I don't have time.
I get what you're, Mark.
Later.
Yeah, Mark, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, it's one of those things of, okay, if you can't get it done in 45 minutes,
you shouldn't tell the story.
That's why you have other people.
Yeah.
That's why you have other people help you.
Yeah.
But simply just being like, oh, well, he should have gotten, and if he can do well with multi-parters, then maybe instead of trying to be like, well, we want to do one and dones, maybe you should have done multi-parters to begin with.
Right. Well, you know what? I think we're going to do a multi-parter. We're going to take a break and come back in the next half.
That doesn't count. It's called a commercial break.
It's a commercial break. Okay.
That doesn't count.
Okay. See, Ed just wants to take over the show. He wants to call it Ed Who 42. I know this in my mind. I know that's what he wants
to do. Paranoia.
So
dude, if I wanted to take over, I'd have taken over by now, and there would be nothing you could do to stop me.
I'm sure you would.
Children.
We're going to take a break now here on Subspace Radio Network. When we come back, we're going to go into the meat of the story of Power of the Doctor. We'll be right back.
And here I thought you had gone vegan.
So.
Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Hello, geeks and geekettes. I'm Steve Megatron, and if you're looking for a podcast that covers a vast array of geeky topics, then check out Altered Geek. Altered Geek covers superheroes, Star Trek, pop culture, comics, film, television, animation, gaming, tech, and more. So check out Altered Geek and get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks every Friday on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, Blog Talk Radio, and the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hello, this is Peter Davison, and you're listening to Mark Who 42.
You are listening to Mark Who 42's Universe.
We're back with Mark Who 42's Universe here on Subspace Radio Network. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten. With me today are our Whovian panel, Eduardo M. Freyre, Vicky Jakubowski, and Zion Quiros. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
So, yeah, we're talking Power of the Doctor, and we were talking, what were we talking about multi-parters here, Ed?
We were,
Chibnall
and
should have
then
done a
you made,
multi-parter
yeah.
and done a better job writing in the past episodes.
Yeah.
But could it have been the constraints or the parameters he was given for this episode made him write a better episode?
Well, that's a tricky thing, because sometimes writers have to, the show editor or the story editor, the executive producer gives them, you have to have this, and this in it. And they have to really think of a way to make it work. And a lot of those episodes are good. So yes, it could have worked out this way, that Chibnall had to make point A, B, and C. So he had to find a creative way to go from one, and he did.
What did everyone think about the Master? Because I overall enjoyed his character in this episode. But I just want to know, where did the Rasputin stuff go?
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Okay,
I
it's great
expected to see him die in fun ways.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, you bring up a great point, Zion. The Master was in top form this episode. He was just great, just a great main villain for this episode.
Absolutely.
The Rasputin stuff. Okay. The thing for me is that, the Rasputin stuff, it felt to me, I found myself like, okay, just the whole setup with the Master, like the kidnapping, the kidnapping and killing the seismologists, and then the Rasputins. Well, but see, the thing is that I kind of like, okay, did we have to do both?
It was part of a trap for the Doctor. If you think about it, the paintings made no sense, except when all the paintings were together, the video came on and he was able to talk.
Yeah, but it's still, I kind of felt what I felt was missing was like, okay, so the Master's being held captive in UNIT. The trap that he sprung using the deminiaturized, the doll
Cyberium.
Yeah, the Cyberium, using that. Okay, so you had that, you had that. But what I was waiting for was something to kind of close the gap.
Yeah.
Where we see the Master jump into a TARDIS and just be like, and then just be like, okay, like head towards, it's like, okay, I have to spring the trap. Where to go, and then maybe show like this huge timeline, and then all of a sudden it focuses on Russia and go, ooh, that looks like fun, like
let's make it a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, because for example, we know that the Rasputin stuff happens after the stuff with the seismologist, because he does say, I warned you this would happen. But we needed that sort of jumping from A to B instead of just, the Cybermen show up, the Master, runs off. We needed kind of that connecting point.
Yeah. I thought he played Rasputin very well, but I also know it was a fan service Easter egg.
Really?
Nicholas and Alexandria, where Tom Baker played Rasputin. Don't tell me there wasn't a link.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that wasn't a link.
Maybe.
And oh God, I mean, there were so many things like that, and I like fan service, and because of the remit, I allowed it. But,
so his plan was to just body swap with the Doctor, right? just to take over her body.
Yeah.
Right. See, like when I saw that whole setup, the first thing that I thought of was that, okay, now he's gonna take the timeless child energy, put it into him, and then now we're back to lock to whatever number that we're at again.
Yeah.
And Master has X amount of regenerations, Doctor has X amount of regenerations, but the process ended the timeless child, whatever, blah blah, whatever.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
Like it went.
Yeah, I agree.
It went towards like. It's definitely in the Master to body steal because like that's what he does, right? But
he
does
did
do
it.
that
He
a
tried
lot,
to.
Yeah.
He tried to do it to 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
well, he did it to Tremus. He did it in the TV movie. He does like stealing bodies.
But like, my whole thing is like, what was the point of it? Just to do it? Like, what was the end game? Because like the whole thing
to
is
be
that,
the Doctor.
No, like
kind of like the Valeyard, if you think about it.
No, like that's the thing. It makes no sense because like the whole thing is that he said that he ingested the Cyberium, so he has this grand master plan, or the Dalek master plan, or master
right,
Dalek
the
plan,
master's
right?
the master's Dalek plan.
Okay, so how does that equal to him stealing the Doctor's body? Is that just what he wants, and he just came up with a plan to
That's
get
his
that?
master plan.
That it's kind of odd. Like,
yeah.
They don't say anything about it. It just say, okay,
Yeah.
I'm just going to steal the Doctor's body, and hey, Yaz, travel with me. And but like, you know, it's odd in there as a fan that like you don't have like the whole encyclopedic knowledge of stuff, right?
Right.
This ties into like my whole theory of like Chibnall trying to throw in like bits of the Seventh Doctor in the canon, because like you had that whole talk about with Ace and the Ace and the Doctor, right, about how they had a falling out and such, and that she said that I couldn't feel, I couldn't understand the weight on your shoulders, right? That sounds like that event in the New Adventures, right?
Yes.
That's the only thing
they
that
probably were dovetailing that. Zion.
That's the only thing that I
it's
can think
definitely
of.
what happened.
That's the only thing that I can think of that would equate to Ace saying that, right?
Yeah.
The line where the Doctor says, "We are not okay. We're Ace." I wanted to slam the table and just say yes, because like that's like 26 years of just bad build. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know something happened, but we're good now. But each way, you'll go back to the Master and the whole story, right? And now the Master is being pulled back to his own body, and he says, "Please don't let me go back to how I was," right? Remember in that Big Finish story, Master?
Yeah.
Right.
I remember that,
About how Death said that the Master was supposed to be the Doctor, and the Doctor was supposed to be the Master, but the Doctor, as a kid, saved the Master from a bully and accidentally killed him. So then Death said, I'll give you his stuff if you just give him to me. And Doctor said, take him. People don't like that because like, why would the Doctor do that? But each way, the point is that like this thing that's the only thing that equals to that line. Like it's weird that like Chibnall throws in these things. Like I don't know if he actually like looked back to like Master and stuff like that, but it's weird how it almost like lines up and fits.
Yeah,
I do agree.
Something I think another thing that does get me about the special, and again I liked it. It's just I can't just be like I liked it. It has no flaws.
No, you have to.
So.
This is a review. This is a review show.
I love the fact that we got UNIT back, and I really, to me, I wonder, like, I really wish that we hadn't had, we didn't have the thing where I have to wonder, like, Chibnall, do you have a thing against UNIT? Because
I promise you,
because it's like, UNIT was not a factor in the Chibnall era, and he went out of his way talking about how UNIT was not,
didn't
so
exist
then
anymore.
we get UNIT back, and it's great, and I thought the new building looked great. but then what happens in this special? It gets, no sooner is UNIT back than they all get massacred or converted by the Cybermen. The nice new building goes kaboom. It's like, can they catch a break?
If UNIT is truly international, again, that was only the UK.
But I'm just saying, like, God, can these guys catch a break?
No, No,
I mean,
can't.
what the
They're not
what?
allowed.
What the what? It's like you know.
Also, where's Osgood?
I was thinking that
Osgood,
too.
People
You
asked
know what?
about Ryan, and he's where I forgot where he was, but like if we're talking
Patagonia.
about
Yeah.
Patagonia, but like if we're in unit, the first I'm pretty sure like someone or at least the doctor would have asked where's Osgood, because each time he's shown up or she's shown up at unit, Osgood's there like on
Right.
almost
Mhm.
breathing on her neck. So like where is she? But I guess not.
They already had a character wearing multiple doctor costumes.
Yes.
Yeah, the master's like
I
the
love
master's doctor outfit. I liked it too. I mean, it was funny that when he was inhabiting the doctor's body, that he was like, oh, I'm going to,
What we have? We had the scarf, we had the jumper, we had the celery. What else did we have?
We have the recorder.
Recorder, right?
Yeah, which by the way,
played better. He played better than Troughton.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And by the way, I love that he used the tune that was that got used for the theme to Outlander.
That's
Like-
true, isn't it?
Like Trish actually recognized it. She's like, "Is he playing the theme to Outlander?" And then I had to joke and I had to say, "Watch next season, the Master regenerates into Jamie Fraser from Outlander."
There you go.
But of course.
Jamie Fraser's the Master all along. Well, I think any Outlander fans listening to this, it's like you put that image in my head.
Yeah.
I hate you now.
Can we talk a little about Ace and Tegan?
Yes.
Ace and Tegan. Okay, we talked about it.
No, it's funny. I have a friend who was so upset because she had stayed away from every rumor, every publicized thing.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And in the opening credits, they list Janet Fielding and Sophie Aldred, and she was like,
Yeah.
for me. But
Yeah.
but everyone's heard it. It was part of the publicity. It wasn't even
Yeah.
a rumor.
Right.
It
Yeah,
was in
yeah.
Doctor Who magazine. It was
Yep.
everywhere.
Yep. Well, I mean, look, I'll. First of all, it was
those two in particular. I mean, because they're fan favorites. I guess.
think Janet Fielding stole the show. That's just me. Like,
Yeah.
like if you have questions or like you just have thoughts about how Doctor Who is after stuff is like I do. I've always wondered how is Tegan taking normal life now? Like, is she okay with it? Is she wishing to go back with the Doctor? Because she had that story where the Fifth Doctor was about to regenerate, and like he like mentally linked with her, and they were still on good terms. So like I always thought she somehow regressed this, and I always wondered like if they ever like met up or anything or just talked, but apparently they haven't.
No.
And
Well,
the way
it's
that
weird because
Chibnall
I
played it was perfect.
Well, okay, I think that there was like a Big Finish audio or something. I know that in the alternate media that there was a reunion between the Doctor and Tegan. This episode apparently contradicts it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that they did have a reunion, and then not to mention, remember the loath as I am to bring this up, this still happened. Jim will fix it. There was a Jim will fix it, which did have Tegan and the Sixth Doctor.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I suppose if you
I guess
really
that was retconned out.
Yeah, I guess it's well, given the first of all, given a few
Seville
things about Seville,
Jimmy Seville,
and then not to mention just the way that that little sketch turned out. It is probably it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's probably easy to make it non-canon.
Poor Garrett Jenkins.
Yeah, sorry, Garrett.
He's no longer part of this canon.
Sorry, Garrett. I mean, I suppose you could find a way to make him canon. But my thing though, the two scenes where we had the holograms appearing before the two, our two guest companions, was beautiful. It was beautiful having that reunion. I do like that, even though there's no explanation for it, I do like that Tegan did know note that
Yes.
her doctor had a few extra,
Yes.
Well,
had like a
remember-
different,
Remember in that Children in Need thing with David Tennant and Peter Davison,
yeah.
they made a big deal about him looking much older. Or
Yeah,
not much
well,
older,
well,
older.
but with that one, the thing is with that one, the explanation was that the time, the timey-wimey involved
That's
kind of
true.
screwed up the, and with this one, I mean, I suppose that you could kind of do a little hand waving and say that the hologram was not perfect, which is why the aged appearance. But I
think it's because the actor was older. I think that's what happened.
Dude, that was bad. That was bad.
That was really
That was
bad.
just bad. That was really bad. That
But
was
it's
not
true.
well.
Yes,
still
but
bad.
now we had to have a reason in the story.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly.
You didn't tell me. I didn't follow that. I didn't realize that's where you were going.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did, but you had to dad joke it.
Oh.
Yes, you did, but you had to make a dad joke.
You know, Mark, we're going to have to put you in the corner, darling.
Yep.
No. That hasn't happened for 4 years. It will never happen again on Mark 42. The corner has retired. Ed, you know why.
Okay,
Yeah,
then.
I'll bring. You know what? Then the curve. The curve in the room will put you in the curve.
in the room.
That works.
It's turned into the curve. Yeah, go to the curve.
I'm going to
Go to the curve. I will say, and I got to say,
Oh.
and for me, for someone who loves classic Who, seeing Ace with the jacket and the bat.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
like,
did
thank
love
you,
that.
thank you so
You know,
much.
She must have had.
I did kind of. I'll be honest. My first thought when I first heard that they were coming back was I was like, I wonder why those two. And then of course I thought, well, okay, I know how old I am, and then there's how old all these actors are. Let's be honest. Who's available? Who's around? The character of Tegan was never one of my favorite companions. She's down on my list. But Ace,
But she is a fan favorite. Tegan and Ace are major fan favorites.
See, Ace, I get. I like the character of Ace, spunky. I really like that. Tegan, to me, and I realize other people don't agree with me, and that's perfectly fine because I like people that people don't like, other people don't like. So, but Tegan to me was always whiny. So I did not like the character.
Like at least the first season.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think it just colored the rest of the time she was on the show. And I just never enjoyed her character. The actor is a wonderful person.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But,
and I think also that for me, I think one of what does make, I've said for years that Tegan would make a great companion to bring back, mainly because what happened, the circumstances of her leaving the TARDIS would make for interesting story, and the fact that her time, you look at her time on the TARDIS and it's like her first adventure with the doctor for the most, for pretty much for the most part died. In her time in the TARDIS, she got left behind accidentally. She got left behind accidentally. She, one of her friends that she made died. And and not to mention the circumstances of it. Also, you have the doctor saying, sorry, I wish I could, but he's now, it's now like a fixed point and I can't screw that up. So having her back, it's like, how does she deal with these feelings? So
which
that's why I
certainly made
love,
her character in this episode
yeah.
so real. I actually liked her better in this because it was very real. I mean, how would I feel if I had gone through all that and the doctor came back? I'd want to smack him too.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention also, I would be like, for me, I would be, it would be like, well, what happens when you hear, like, it would be interesting because for a lot of people hearing the TARDIS is like, oh, it's the doctor. And then
for her,
what if you're somebody, who's been through all this violence? What happens when you hear the TARDIS? Exactly. Are you thinking, oh yeah, it's the doctor? Or are you like, uh-oh, what
Her
is going to
tenure
happen
on
now.
The TARDIS was
One-
probably some of the
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah,
That
one-
said, though, okay, I think something though that we do need to bring up the the support group.
Oh my
I want
God,
to save
I
that. I want to
love
save that. I
that.
want to save the support group because
Yeah.
I'm going to say that. Can I just say one of the things I loved about the Tegan character in this was when Tegan and the Doctor AI were having that talk, and we
Yeah.
brought that
Yeah.
up. And you know how much I hate this character, Ed, but the Adric mention
Yep.
was
Yep.
very heartwarming. I
Yeah.
thought that was really a
Well,
good point that put
and
in there.
It also goes back to what I was saying,
Yeah.
that this is somebody who in their tenure
Mm-hmm.
as a companion saw, she saw
Yeah.
him die, and it's like
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that was
can
pretty
you
rough.
blame, and can you also blame her that she sees the Cybermen, and hey, if I was her,
Yeah.
I would be like,
Yeah.
oh dear Lord, okay, these things killed Adric, they're back, oh Lord, I don't, oh man, of all the, not to
Right.
mention the fact that she, through no fault of her own, she got tricked,
Yeah.
was the cause of their latest rampage. It's like, if I'm a psychiatrist and she's on my couch, I'd be like, we're gonna need more than one session here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm booking you out for the rest of the year because we're not gonna solve this now.
I just started listening to it came out when it was the 40th anniversary of the Fifth Doctor, the Big Finish CD 40.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the first story in there is called The Secrets of Telos. And the Doctor, I'm going to spoil it for some people. The Doctor time jumps from when he's with the Tegan, Nyssa, and Adric. He time jumps into himself into the second season where Adric is dead. And they don't want to tell him Adric's dead. And then the Cybermen are the main baddies, tell us. And so it keeps coming up and he figures it out. And I'm wondering, I haven't gotten to the end of it or how it works. Will he know about Adric dying when he goes back to his proper timeline?
Huh.
I find that fascinating.
That's interesting. And that also reminds me of Daughter of the Gods.
Mm-hmm.
The first and second Doctor team up audio.
Yeah.
Because that also is like a big part, because the fact that because the Katrina's sacrifice, that's looming over things, and you have and also it's like, okay, well, we could stop the Daleks now, but we're sending Katrina to die, so it's like it's like, crud, all this timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I loved about the Tegan storyline was that the Master brought up Auntie Vanessa.
And of course he would. Of course he would. He's enough of a jerk. He'll do that.
I'm surprised that he even remembers her name after all this time. Because
that's a good point. That's a freaking good point.
I'd be really sure that the Doctor wouldn't even remember, but that's just me.
Yeah. Well, I think
the
reason the Master remembers it is only because that seems like the type of thing he'll remember it, just because meeting her again.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do.
Bring it all back.
I'm gonna have some fun and needle her. Like,
he does have the Cyberium.
Yeah, so he might actually remember that.
Yeah.
He might remember that, so he and the Master does seem like the type that would remember this stuff, so he could be like poke, 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 poke.
Yeah.
Like if he, if a version of the Master came and massacred everybody at one of your weekend TARDIS Reno meetings, I'm sure that if he met, like a future version of the Master met you again, Mark, that he'd be like, oh, are you having another meeting? Have the flames died out and you can have another meeting? Because I'd love to go. Because he just wants to see, it's like react. react.
You know, the funny thing you bring up Weekend TARDIS is, was just our 9th anniversary. We've been meeting for 9 years watching Doctor Who videos for 9 years.
I got that on Facebook.
Yeah.
There's the picture of me with the K9.
Just real quickly, Yaz, her departure, I have real problems about it. Because, like, it feel like the Doctor just tell her to, like, yo, just get out.
Yeah.
It's like I've always, it makes no sense for the Doctor to say, I need to do this alone, when he's done it, she has done it in front of multiple companions before. So it's kind of odd to me. It's like, just get out.
Yeah.
You know what? I suspect part of it is just that, given the connection that they've had, the Doctor probably didn't want Yaz to see it.
No.
Because it would be it would be like somebody dying.
Yeah.
It would be like watching someone die. So it's
her
like
love dying.
Yeah. So it's like you don't want to be here for it.
Yeah. All right. Folks, we have so much more to talk about Power of the Doctor, but we're just about out of time here in Subspace Radio Network. We definitely want you to follow us to the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast online. We're everywhere on Pandora, Audible, Spotify, Apple, Google, all those things. But I just want to say before we go, because this is a kicker, and we'll talk about more later, what did you guys think about the ending?
Dun, dun, dun.
The king is back.
The king is back.
The return of the king.
Yes.
Okay.
And the rating.
Okay. Well, you know what? Okay. My little tease for this.
Mm-hmm.
My little tease for this. I'm just gonna have one phrase.
Okay.
One phrase.
I'm afraid to hear it because I know what it is.
No, you don't.
Okay, go ahead.
Mother-in-law.
I didn't know that was coming. No, you're right.
Okay.
I didn't know what was coming.
All right. All right. And you will see what that means. You'll see what that means in the podcast version.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, but we're teasing at the storyline just to get you to say, hey, we want to follow them to the podcast, and I think you should. So for people on Subspace Radio, I want to say goodbye. My name is Mark Baumgarten. We had Eduardo M. Freyre, Vicky Jakubowski, and Zion Quiros talking all about Power of the Doctor. And like I said, there is so much more to talk about. Any final words in the Subspace section, guys?
Goodbye, Chibnall. It has not been pleasant. Click.
Oh.
Yeah. Ed?
I will actually say goodbye, Jodie.
Yeah.
You were brilliant.
We shall miss you.
Yeah, we will. Okay.
You deserved better.
Yes, she did.
Yep.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Jodie deserves so much better. Yeah. In my opinion, and I'm going to say this really quickly, this Power of the Doctor was Caves of Androzani to Peter Davison. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll talk about that later. We'll take a break.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Tooncast is dedicated to the cartoons we grew up with. 100 episodes and more make up one of the GCRN's most popular podcasts. Join hosts TFG and Mike, Optimus Solo, Terror the Rising Star, and tons of guest hosts. We also have voice actor and writer interviews. Tune in to Tooncast as we look back on the cartoons that defined us as geeks. You can find Tooncast on iTunes and the web at www.geekcastradio.com. Tune in.
So you're definitely joining us on the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast. Yes, we are talking Power of the Doctor. My name is Mark Baumgarten. With me, my panel, Eduardo M. Freyre, Vicky Jakubowski, and Zion Quiros. Wow, I'm calling you panel now, not co-host. That's weird. Very weird.
You're having a moment, darling.
I'm having a moment. Oh, these moments are not good at my age.
But the moment has been prepared for.
The moment has been, the moment has been prepared for, leading us into Peter Davison. Let's talk about the Edge and we're going to get into the force regeneration stuff, but let's talk about what happens after the force regeneration. Where I remember watching it, the doctor is standing there, and she looks, and there's the first Doctor. I started weeping inside. That was beautiful.
I was like, I basically took a page from the Tennant playbook, and I was like, what? Because I was not expecting. I was not expecting the classic Doctor showing up like that. I also thought it's probably one of the most inventive ways to have the classic Doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because you don't have to, you don't have to sit there and like make this huge knot of timey-wimey.
Exactly.
You could have a moment where the Doctor goes inside themselves and interacts with these past Doctors. That's like a great way to bring back a classic Doctor.
Yeah.
Is through the hologram. I do love the little comedic bit where they had the 8th Doctor and he's in his Night of the Doctor outfit, and he goes, "I don't do robes." With the other doctors kind of like, okay, there always has to be one. It's too bad that they couldn't. It's too bad that they could not get like Matt Smith or even get Eccleston, so we could have a representation of New Who in there.
I think that if they do that, that would have been saved for next year.
Yeah.
Although I think this was mostly a celebration of classic with a few nods to present, but yeah.
Okay. But I thought that was interesting. I did think that was interesting. Here's the thing, actually.
Okay.
Here's the thing I'm wondering, if you don't mind me skipping ahead.
Go ahead. I skipped ahead. You skip ahead.
Okay.
Go for it.
So we did have a preview for Doctor Who in 2023. The last image that they showed, the last scene that they showed, was what looks like Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor going, "What the hell is going on here?"
Because that's what everyone was thinking.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing.
Okay.
My curiosity is my curiosity about that, is it post regeneration, or are we back in the Doctor's mindscape?
Interesting.
Could the image of Ncuti be the Ncuti in the Doctor's mindscape, knowing that he's the next in line, but the fact that Jodie regenerated into Tennant, like it's some sort of outside force that messed with it.
She was forced. That forced regeneration, pushing the Master into her, had to have screwed with things.
Right.
So the fact that the thing's going wrong doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
as long as we're there, as long as we're there at the end of the episode, we have skipped. I'm going to give a theory. It's not just mine because I've read other people have it, but it does make sense. Especially because his clothes changed. I think the Doctor's regeneration was hijacked, and I think it's down to Neil Patrick Harris. Whether he's the toy maker who has the powers of a god or some other character, I think the Doctor was hijacked, and the Doctor really, like we just said, Ncuti should have been the 14th. And yes, the BBC has announced, oh yeah, David Tennant's the 14th and Ncuti now the 15th. I think that's a red herring. I think that it's definitely not the proper regeneration. It was a hijacking. That's why the clothes are there, because and yes, the clothes did change between Hartnell and Troughton, and yes, that was power of the Daleks. This is power of the Doctor. So that could be what it is, a nod to that. But I think more of a hijacking.
Yeah.
Well, like
I think so too.
To answer what Ed was saying, if you closely look at Tennant's and Ncuti's costume, they're wearing the same thing.
Yeah.
It is just that Ncuti's in a torn or a distressed form of it. So I just think based off that is post regeneration, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
it could also be a red herring.
Yeah.
It does look distressed, and I did notice that the tie was undone. He doesn't have the coat, and the tie looks undone. So it could be post regeneration, but I'm also kind of wondering if there's a little, like we're not the idea that we're not seeing Shooty's doctor until like the what they're calling the festive special.
Yeah. Well, the specials. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they said specifically it was the festive special. Like that's the word they used.
Okay. Well, that may be the Christmas episode.
Yeah. So I'm kind of wondering if that's also a red herring. Like we will see Shooty earlier, and then maybe in this kind of form. I'll say this. Okay, I do have to say this about David Tennant returning.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, like it's cool to see him back, but I think it sets a dangerous precedent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It sets a dangerous precedent because it sets this thing up where if anybody at the top, especially BBC, thinks that the show is in trouble, that they can use this as a parachute to be like, oh, let's just have the Doctor regenerate into a classic person. I hear that Eccleston's not busy. Hey, Chris, do you want to come back? And the first words. Well, okay. You're killing my vibe here, dude.
Sorry.
Let me finish. It's like, they call Eccleston, and Eccleston comes back, and the Doctor regenerates into the 20th Doctor, but it's Eccleston, and he goes, "This is fantastic." It just feels like it sets a dangerous thing where if they think it's not working, they'll try to call one of the previous actors on speed dial to come back, and then just be like, "See, look, kids, the show's not in trouble because we brought this person back."
Okay. No, that's a very good point, because I was talking to someone at a Halloween party last night. They were saying that they thought that the reason they brought Tennant in before Shooty, since Capaldi, since around Smith Capaldi, and it was no longer a young male, the show's viewership has kind of gone down. But I love Capaldi; he's one of my favorites.
Well, yeah, no,
but
me
the
too.
viewership went down. Jodie had a mixed viewership, so they're trying to build up for the new Who for Shooty, who's young, but they want to bring people back, and they know with Tennant there, they can bring all those people who, because Tennant was a favorite, bring Tennant in, get all those viewers who bailed on the show back, get them into it, and then put Shooty on.
That's exactly what they're doing.
They're doing a ratings grab here.
Okay, as cool as that is, it
is
also
that cool? That may not be cool.
Well, okay. As cool as that sounds on paper, again, it sets a very dangerous precedent. It also, I also feel like the optics are a little off because Shooty's a young guy, but he's also the first Doctor of color.
Yeah.
Not counting Joe's retcon Doctor. And saying that, and then basically saying that, oh, before we can give you this, let's bring back this previous guy.
Right.
So the goodwill and the good buzz that has been generated by Shooty, you're saying it's not enough unless you bring back a classic guy?
Okay. And that brings me up to another.
You see where the optics can be bad on that one.
Okay, that brings me up to another point, Ed. That brings me up to another point, because that was my friend at the party, Randy. Okay.
Yeah.
We're watching it. I actually, because she hadn't watched any of Jodie's, I got her to watch Power of the Doctor. She liked it, but when she saw David Tennant come on, she's going, "What? They have no confidence in Shooty?"
Exactly.
They're that afraid of Shooty, so they brought someone back. So I see both directions. I see it's to get people back into it. I also see, but I don't think that's the reason. But I can see why people might think that. I can see both perspectives on this.
It is a mix of two things, because we were just talking about this, right? If we can literally count this as trial 2. right? The shows can be counted as on trial because there's no guarantee that Russell T Davies is going to be successful, right? Like, sure, we may get like what happened with Jodie, we get the spike in ratings, and then they bleed off, and let's say that it just ends up being mid, right? Let's say that we can't strike lightning twice, but it's still decent, right? I can imagine that people are expecting that only because David Tennant's back, the show is going to be 10 out of 10, right? And I can imagine that maybe the BBC is thinking the same, right? So like, that's how I'm looking at it, based off what we got from Chibnall and how people said we're not going to watch this, and ratings went down and sales went down, and the only thing that's really selling in merchandise is Classic Who stuff. It makes sense that they said we have to do this because we're on trial again, right? So like, again,
I think they are.
Yeah, so like they're just playing safe. They're playing it extremely safe because like, you know how people are, right? I'm not saying how people are, but like, we know how people are. We know how Jodie was treated as soon as she became a doctor, right? Who will say that wasn't happening the same thing now, right? And then let's say again RTD doesn't strike lightning twice, then you've killed the show just off people's opinion about how certain things, and then the show's not actually good, so now you again have a reason to actually kill the show again, and boom. So I just think that they're just playing it extremely safe. But yes, you can clearly see that they don't feel like, if they see that things can go wrong if we go straight with Shooty, but we can recuperate if it does go bad, if we still start with David. If we still start with David, essentially.
They know that there's a fan base that will come back to go see David, regardless of anything else.
That's what I was.
Yeah. Well, okay. You told me about what Randy said at your viewing party.
Well, yeah, she not at the viewing party. We watched.
When you watched it. Okay. The other thing is one of the members of Lovely's cosplay shared this online. It was something somebody else said, but she agreed with, and this was about the regeneration Tenant. And what they said was what it feels like is you go to a wedding, and the mother-in-law upstages the bride.
The mother-in-law was wearing
the mother-in-law upstaged it. Yeah. It wasn't, the excitement wasn't about getting a new doctor. It was about getting
how are they bringing David back?
Exactly. It was and I'm kind of sorry that happened, because it feels like
look again, and I hate saying this, there's no guarantee that those fans are going to stick once David regenerates.
No,
he's only here for 3 episodes.
Well, and then also
they're just hoping that you like
the other thing. Okay, the other thing is that we're assuming, so if Tennant's return is supposed to be the return of Tennant, the complete return of Tennant.
Yes.
So we're assuming, the assumption right now is that Tennant's new doctor is going to be the same as his first go around.
Right.
What happens, well, first of all, if it is, it's like, so the doctor's basically just going through the motions and, just redoing the classics, which feels kind of contrary to the whole idea.
I don't think they're going to do regeneration. I think he's going to have slightly.
But then here's but here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. If not, are we going to have a backlash because everybody who loved David Tennant is going to be like, it's going to be like, this isn't David Tennant. This isn't how Tennant's doctor's supposed to be.
Because nobody's ever grown up ever.
I think that's part of the plot, is that it would be part of the plot that he's not the same as he was. I think that would be. But here's the thing. I see what the fans would. Yeah,
but you see what I'm saying. If it's not, if he's not, it's not just getting Tennant back. It's not just him walking out of the TARDIS.
The doctor back.
Does he get? Yeah. Well, what they consider to be the doctor.
Yes. That's what I meant. Yeah.
But is he going to have the same
quirkiness.
Is it going to be the same quirkiness that was David Tennant, or is it going to be different? Because even David Tennant as the Doctor changed throughout the course of David Tennant as the Doctor.
Yep.
What we are describing, and it's insane that I'm bringing this up because I kind of hate this scene, is that is pretty much Clara when 11 regenerated. Please just stay with me. I'm the same man. This and that. Like, you're pretty much. I can almost see into the future that we're gonna have a scene like that. That we're gonna have probably the same companion, maybe or not. Who knows?
Well, Donna is coming back.
12.
Yeah.
I mean, between Tennant and Jodie, but like
maybe more than just Donna.
The point is that like bringing back some, like, the show's about progress, right? So if we double back, right, who's to say that we're not going to double back to Smith like 10 years from now?
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing with Donna, I don't think we can double back, because remember, she cannot remember any of her past travels without her brain burning
up. Exactly.
So
but unless they have found
Donna
a way
may
to
meet
solve
him.
that
Donna
problem.
may meet him for the first time again.
That's true.
Yeah, or maybe even Russell T may find a way around it so that she temporarily remembers again. But it's
we solve solutions to medical problems all the time.
Yep.
I want my Donna back. I love her.
Question. I'm sorry to double back to Power of the Doctor, but I just remembered, where did Bradley Welsh come from?
Where did Graham?
Yes.
Yeah, he just showed up.
He just showed up.
Yeah, he just showed up. Yeah.
Maybe the AI got it. Maybe the AI brought. I don't know. That just.
They
don't explain. It was a cut scene.
Yeah. Well, hopefully a cut scene.
I'll explain later.
Yeah, I will say this, but talking about Graham coming back, I do want to bring up a couple of things.
Okay.
Thing one is the Power of the Doctor started with the whole thing on the train, and Dan basically saying,
"What a waste."
Okay. Yeah.
I know.
Here's my thing though. Okay. Another question. My thing though is, could Dan have left at the end of the Sea Devils?
Yes.
Like, why?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah. So why did he not?
Yeah, exactly. My question is, why spend this time? Have Dan show up, have him get freaked because his mask because he took a hit in the mask, and then be like, okay, you know what? Do you guys mind if I just split?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I can do this anymore.
Yeah.
And
like, what was it? Why did it have to be that? Why couldn't you have had something in Legend of the Sea Devils that at the end he goes, "Yeah, guys, I'm out."
Yeah.
Why did it have? Why did we have to wait until now?
What was the purpose of that? Because there has to be a purpose to that, right?
Yeah.
That's not even the worst part. This is the Doctor's friend we're talking about, right? So we just remembered that his house is gone, and we just told him, just keep on stepping, homeless man.
I think we needed another. I think the Doctor needed another loss.
Yeah, it's
now that's true.
Or at least
the Doctor just gonna leave him homeless. Like, I can't see the Doctor leaving someone that's traveled with him that's lost his house because of him traveling with a Doctor.
Well, the Doctor has left many people in many places.
Yeah.
Well, he left Sarah Jane like miles from where she was supposed to be.
Yeah, but at least she landed. She could go home.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Dan could always check up with that girl he likes.
Well, wasn't he supposed to go out on a? He was leaving to go on a date with her.
He was leaving to go on a date.
And then at the end, I don't know. It didn't work for me. I thought Dan was that John Bishop was totally wasted in this episode. He's he's a very funny man, a very good actor. And he's gone.
They could have used him more. But you are right.
Maybe
this is an entire episode of loss.
Yeah.
And continuous loss, where it is almost like people are falling in one way or another like flies. And it kind of had to be that way.
Also, didn't people want Yaz to travel with the Doctor alone for a while, and they were disappointed when Dan came on?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even though they ended up with all the other companions, she did do a lot on her own. She, with the Master and the Doctor Master and
Yeah.
Dr. Donna, Doctor Master. How many Doctor things are we going to have?
Look,
Yeah.
now,
I'll say this. I will say this. This does. I mean, there is some wiggle room where you could have the Doctor and Yaz alone.
Yeah, between the 2 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah. So that sounds like fodder for either Big Finish or Titan or or whoever's writing the books. So there is fodder there. It's a shame though that it now has to be that kind of fodder. That it has to be like, oh, okay, we're going to. Yeah, we're gonna have to do it in side stories.
Yeah, I think it was the loss.
Right.
No, like it's no, like now that's all said and done, it almost seems intentional because again, what's the whole point of Dan? He's just there, right? You could have told every story, every single story that Dan is in without Dan, and it still ends up the exact same way.
Yeah,
you could have everything that Dan does have Yaz do, and
I mean the only
their development and fine, but I guess they don't want an all-girl TARDIS.
Yeah, well, the only difference is Dan being the one to kind of push Yaz and the Doctor to kind of admit their feelings for each other,
which then really didn't go anywhere.
Exactly.
The ending where she wanted to eat ice cream with.
Yeah,
but like that only came up in like the last bit. You could have the whole season of like Yaz trying to figure out how to actually go about that. Rather than just having Dan just shoot her and say, "You like her, don't you? Why didn't you go talk to her?" It's just a waste.
Yeah.
And like the only thing that makes me mad about it, well, even though I'm mad about it, but like the thing that really makes me mad about it is that we're not gonna have a chance to do that for a long time.
Yeah.
If I mean even.
If at that.
Yes.
The other, but I mean, going on. Okay, so moving on to happier things because I think happier stuff because we've been a little
90 day.
Happy joy.
The other, I think I did bring this up, and you said you wanted to wait, but I think we can pull this out now.
Go for it.
The support group or the the support group or the ongoing reunion. I thought that was, I love that scene, and to whoever managed to get in touch with William Russell and bring him back.
Okay.
Yeah.
God bless you, sir or madam.
Thank you.
Can I say something about that?
God bless. Well, let me finish. It's like Go ahead. God blessed for getting him back. And even though she's not my favorite, great that they brought back Bonnie Langford too. Great that they brought these two back. And that the support group wasn't just filled with the people we've already seen and make appearance in New Who. It's great to see that Ian is still there in in the New Who era. It's great to see that Mel, great to see Mel is still around. I really wish though that, and I don't know, maybe this is what you want to bring up, Mark. I really wish though that there would have been that, aside from Yaz, Graham, and Dan, that there would have been somebody representing New Who outside of the 13th Doctor
Again,
era.
60th.
Yeah.
We don't know which companions.
Okay, but
yes, you're right. There should have been someone in Doctor Who's anonymous.
Yeah,
that's what I call it. Doctor Who Anonymous.
Which, by the way, somebody brought up a good one because. Like, for example, Trish and I were trying to run through in our heads. We were like, okay, who's still around? It couldn't be Clara.
Couldn't be Jamie.
It couldn't be well, no, I'm talking
New Who. Yeah, New Who, sorry.
Okay, so that leaves out, okay, so Rose and Mickey are, wait. Okay, Rose and Rose's mom are out. Out because they're not. They're in the alternate. Yeah, they're in the parallel universe. It can't be Clara because she has her own TARDIS and she's with me.
Can't be Bill.
It can't be Bill. It can't be Donna.
No. So Martha and Mickey.
Mickey. Wilf. could have been a part of it.
Yeah, it couldn't be Amy and Rory because they're too far back.
They're
and
gone,
they wouldn't have made it to 2022.
Yeah, but it's funny you should bring up Amy and Rory because you know who could have been a part of it.
Oh, the father.
Yeah, Rory's dad.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Rory's dad could have been there because while he hasn't traveled with the Doctor.
No, he did travel. He did travel.
Okay, well, yeah.
on the spaceship.
Right, but I'm saying, but when I mean travel, I mean travel.
Oh,
yeah. So it would have been. So he could have been there. The other person that could have been there is I forgot his name, but
the failed companion from the first season.
Adam. There you go.
Yeah,
another one that it could have been. Another one that it could have been, although I don't think he would be high on people's lists of returning favorites, is the guy from Love and Monsters.
Yeah, as long as they play some ELO in the background.
Don't
I love
me down
ELO
like that, Mark.
No. No, I don't.
You missed my joke. You missed my joke.
I did again. I don't know what joke you made this time.
ELO, and I said, "Don't bring me down like that."
Okay, yeah, that's funny.
I said, "Don't bring me down like that."
ELO joke.
Get it, ELO, but
you did.
Yeah,
ELO
see,
definitely an
God.
ELO joke.
You did an ELO joke before I did. No, Ed. I congratulate you on that one. That was funny. I like that one.
Yeah, and you missed it because I had to explain
Well, now that I've
it.
heard it, I'm listening to it on the headsets in instant replay while we're talking. Yeah, that's funny.
Oh lordy.
What are we gonna do with you guys?
Okay,
No,
so
I wanted to bring up we're talking about Doctor Who's Anonymous and William Russell. There's a Guinness Book of World Records there. Doctor Who has another Guinness record.
Since 65.
William Russell broke the Guinness World Record for longest gap between TV appearances as the same character.
Oh my god!
Think about it.
Oh yeah.
7 years. There was a record. The previous record was held by Philip Lowry as Dennis Tanner on Coronation Street. There was a 43-year gap.
Wow.
Oh wow.
William Russell beat that by a mile. So congratulations.
Damn, man.
Let's do a dance.
Lord.
Way to go.
Since 65. That's insane.
Way to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Way to go, man.
Yeah,
we beat Coronation Street. We
Yes,
beat
we did.
Coronation
Oh, we
Street.
So, I was talking about earlier in the radio segment that there were a lot of things that felt like they were stolen or homaged from other episodes, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So you have the the Cybermen Russian doll, right?
Yep.
Right.
Okay. Did you start thinking the Genesis arc from Doomsday?
There was a little bit of that.
Because it was Time Lord technology, just like the Russian doll, Time Lord technology, and it did the same thing.
That's when we was watching it. That's what I brought up to you.
Well, yeah, we both brought it up, but I was like what's it called? I did the research. It's a Genesis arc. You did bring that up. Another thing they brought up, and one of the best parts of the episode, the Rasputin song.
Yes.
Okay, we were cheering.
That was a little.
thing.
That was a little gasso, but it was, but still kind of.
Oh my god!
There's a link to that.
I remember when that song. Oh my god!
There's a link to that from a previous episode.
Okay.
Okay, so the Master did Rasputin. In Last of the Time Lords from series 3, the Master starts dancing and forcing the Doctor to move around in his wheelchair to the Scissor Slaters' I Can't Decide.
Oh yeah.
So the Master, they've done that before. They've played the music and the Master was they've done that. And I thought that was a great little touch. I loved them, and it felt like a lot of things in the story were lifted or changed from previous episodes. And
you know what?
It was the remit for the BBC centenary.
Well, I don't know if it was just the remit for the centenary or it was
Chibnall writing well.
Chibnall writing well, or at least again using the Flux playbook of like, hey kids, remember when the Master was dancing? See, look, the Master's dancing.
Yeah.
Hey kids, the Master's dancing again. Remember how cool that was?
Question. We completely didn't talk about this plot point in the story. So remember about the Dalek that had the plans to
The
destroy
renegade Dalek.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing about that. Okay, so question: Why did the Road Dalek run? Because he was independent of the whole thing, right? Two.
Yeah.
The Doctor went with it. She was going to go for it.
Yeah.
Why did they meet in the same place that all the other Daleks were? Why couldn't they go somewhere else?
Yeah. Well,
they wouldn't be captured.
Well, and then the other thing. Okay, the other thing about that, I remember somebody brought up. It's like, why couldn't that have been Rusty?
Oh.
Yeah.
So you just drop out this renegade Dalek being like, I'm not going to drink the Dalek Kool-Aid. I'm going to warn you about the attack, and then do nothing with it. Like either why couldn't it have been Rusty, or why couldn't it have been? You could have dropped. It's like you wouldn't even have to spend that much time on it.
Yeah.
Just drop a line from the master. While he's monologuing, just be like, "Oh," and then I trapped you with and then I had to use the Dalek Renegade. You just can't resist a renegade, can you?
Oh.
There
was another interesting thing Randy brought up when the renegade Dalek was on the TARDIS, the image.
Yeah.
And she's going, "Oh, what? She's going to believe this? This is unbelievable." And I'm listening to what the Dalek is saying, that the original, that the purpose of the Daleks were to perpetuate the Khalid race, and now they perverted it, and it's to perpetuate the Dalek race. And I'm thinking, that's logical. That sounds like what a Dalek would think, and that makes sense. Yeah. I believed him. I didn't have a problem with it. I believed him because he was being logical. It made sense.
Wow, yeah.
Yep. No, I hear that.
I
hear that.
Went nowhere.
It went nowhere. It went nowhere.
Cut it off like Snoke. Okay, we're done here.
Did you feel like, as a matter of fact, my reaction when it ended was, that's it? Because we had a lot of potential red herrings. I don't know if there's going to be closure to it in the actual specials or season or whatever it is we're going to have. But I felt like, okay, we went down this path, but okay, it was a red herring, or it wasn't as important as you thought it was, like the rogue Dalek. Like the seismologist, you just kind of thought that there was going to be something bigger,
right?
Yep.
And how much of it were red herrings?
Why
how much of it were?
Yeah.
Why Rasputin?
Except for the fan service to Tom Baker.
If that was even the point,
I absolutely really enjoyed this episode. It was definitely one of the better ones we got. From Chris, and I thought that Judy finally had some scenery to chew, because she's such a good actress, and I actually enjoyed her as the Doctor. I just felt like the writing she was given was substandard for her abilities, but I was left wanting more, which is something I think I've been saying throughout our entire look at the history of her version of the Doctor. And there were so many side pieces that I'm like, so was that on purpose, or what was the purpose? Was there a purpose, or were they just trying to confuse me because it worked really well?
Right. Well, see, that's my point. That is my point with the whole thing with the Timeless Child. It was a trigger. Okay, well, first of all, I mean, the thing with the Timeless Child is that there was like a fan canon thought about, it goes back to an episode where it's like the implication is that the Doctor had more regenerations than we've seen. And there was a fan response that the images we saw were actually Morbius.
Yeah.
And while it hadn't been confirmed, It was one of those explanations everybody was fine with. You did not need to pull the trigger on the idea that the Doctor had previous regenerations. Chibnall decided to do that. He decided for whatever reason, he decided that trigger needed to be pulled. Fine. The big problem is that nothing was done with it. It was pulling the trigger, but then to what end? To what end? What was the point? Where were we supposed to go with this? Was it supposed to go anywhere? Why is it that now, if anybody wants anything from it, we got to hope that Russell T Davies or someone else does something with it?
Also,
right.
If I get one more episode where the Cybermen are being controlled by the Master, I'm flying to London myself. And I'm
fly to Cardiff. You want to fly to
Yeah.
Cardiff?
It is ridiculous. Because I really wonder, what's the whole point of the Time Lord Cybermen? They do nothing different but the Cybermen do.
The Cyber
come back.
Masters? Yeah.
Yeah.
They just come
Other
back.
than other than the fact that they can regenerate now.
Yes, which is no intrinsically different than any other Cyberman, because usually you can't really kill a Cyberman like that. So it's odd. Like, the only thing that was attacking the Cybermen were humans. If you go through every other Cyberman episode, the same thing happens, regardless if they're Time Lord Cybermen or not. So like, it's just odd. Like they're just there to look cool, even though they don't really look cool.
Yeah. I mean that too. It's like Chibnall nuked Gallifrey. He had the Master obliterate Gallifrey, and it's like, okay, that's one of those things that I want to be like, okay, so you destroyed Gallifrey. Why? What were you trying? What was the point of destroying Gallifrey?
What was the end game?
What was the end game with that? Especially since it flew in the face of this long-running subplot in the show of saving Gallifrey.
Right.
What were you trying to do? What was your thing? What was
into how he destroyed it?
No, he destroyed it. He went and he destroyed it. So it's like, it could have been anything. I do remember. I mean, I hate doing this. I really do. But
do you really?
Because I usually don't. Well, hold on. Would you let me finish, dude? Dude, you're consistently letting me not finish.
This is the Mess Ed Up show, folks. This is our new title.
God. But I remember after while watching, the first appearance of Joe Martin's Fugitive Doctor. I remember after watching that, coming up with these theories, as to what is going on. And then one of my theories that I had, I mean, this was just me shooting for the moon here, but I had this theory, and I'm like, what if, because, the Doctor did some timey-wimey when he saved Gallifrey.
Yes.
And what if that screwed things up? And what if Joe Martin's Doctor is actually coming from, what if, because the Time Lords can regenerate, what if Gallifrey itself actually regenerated?
Ooh.
And everything that we have with regards to like the Fugitive Doctor, this is an alternate Gallifrey. This is an alternate Gallifrey that came about because of Gallifrey's destruction in the Time War, but it exists in tandem with the Gallifrey that the Doctor saved. So it's like this big sort of timey-wimey mess up. But instead we got, instead it's, I'm going to pull the trigger on this idea that the Doctor has more lives than we've seen. And it's like, okay, all right. I mean, you can do that. But what really upset me was, again, nothing was done with it. It was just, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this and then do nothing with it. And what really gets me about it, though, what really has me PO'd is the fact that we have something like the Flux.
Right.
We have Doctor Who Flux, where the fob watch with all the Doctor's secrets, with the answer to her questions, and she dumps it. She dumps it and goes, I actually don't want to know. And it's one of these things where, like, this has never come up again. You know, I remember somebody thinking, one of the things that, so one of the scenes that showed up in the previews for the Power of the Doctor was when the Doctor's undergoing the forced regeneration.
Right.
And, you know, people were like, could this be, you know, could it actually be having to deal with the fob watch because the regeneration was not the normal regeneration?
Right.
You know, it wasn't the normal regeneration energy. And for me there, I was like, the fob watch is going to come into play. And it didn't. Instead, we did get the forced regeneration into the Doctor Master or the Master Doctor. Whatever you think works in this case.
Yeah.
So it's like, so is the fob watch basically, it's somewhere, like I said, in the trunk of the TARDIS, just there.
Interesting.
It's like it's just there. Yeah. It's just there in the trunk. You know, probably next to I don't know. You know, probably next to a crystal from Metabolus 3, the Doctor's hat from when he was the 5th Doctor. You know, a spare thing of Nitro 9 Ace accent left behind. You know, it's just there. It's in a TARDIS junk drawer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Come on.
Which again just POs me. I'm just like, really? Yeah. It's like it kind of feels to me like a betrayal of, or at least like a subvert. You know, it feels to me like what you don't. You know, I'm thinking of like the rule of Chekhov's gun. In the sense that if you introduce this in one act, it has to be used in another. And he didn't do that. Chibnall did not do that.
No.
He instead brought out the gun in the fob watch and in the Timeless Child reveal and did nothing with it. Absolutely nothing.
No.
Like the closest we got was, again, you know, in this special, it's like, hey kids, look, one more shot of Joe Martin. Yay!
That's another thing.
Yeah.
What was the whole reasoning of the episode being called the Timeless Children in the first place? Because the Doctor's called the Timeless Child.
Yeah.
Shouldn't the episode just be called
because
the
all the
Timeless Child?
children, all the versions of the Doctor.
Yeah, but it's the
plural.
Doctor. Yeah, but all
it's
of them are
plural.
Yeah, but they're all the same person, is what I'm saying.
But you still have to differentiate. We say doctors, you know, all the doctors. We don't say all the Doctor. I'm doing semantics here, but that's why they called it children. That's why they called it children for semantic reasons.
You brought something that I wanted to bring up. We were talking about the scene in the Doctor's head, right? That's one thing about Chibnall that I will give him right now, is that scene that we all agreed that was very creative, right? But I saw completely oddly that is completely different than any other scene with any other multi-Doctor that I felt like. For once, seeing the faces change in the same row besides 8 felt like I was actually looking at the definite article, The Doctor. Like, this is the first time I actually got to look at The Doctor. And I've never actually felt like I've ever had like a chance to actually look at that. Like, you always get like a slices of the pie. You get the 1/4, you get that pie, you get that pie, but you never actually get like a good half like this. You're like, wait a second, this is the actual pizza. Whoa. Yeah, and I just find it really interesting that, like, this is the one time where you can actually say that you've seen the one character, the guy, or the person.
Yeah.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I've never seen the Doctor in Gallifrey clothing. That's the one thing I've always sat back and said, the Doctor doesn't really want to associate himself with Gallifrey, at least besides the TARDIS keys, because he has to. I mean, but like, when I sat back and said, that's just the Time Lord. That's the Doctor.
Well, I mean, I know that what's his name? I know Baker actually wore Time Lord robes.
Deadly Assassin.
Yeah, Deadly Assassin. He did wear.
Point that out.
Yeah. So He's worn them before. Maybe not, but maybe not as like an ongoing thing.
He wore them before as a disguise. In Deadly Assassin, he wasn't wearing it to wear it. He was wearing it to fit in so that he could get into the coronation.
Yeah.
So it's different than just wearing it. I need to say something. I said right before the end of the radio version, I put in really quick that I thought this was tantamount to Kate Van Jazani, and I want to quantify on that. It's like Vicky said, this episode, I'm going to miss Jodie because there could have been so much better, so much more done with her.
Yeah.
And when I saw Kate Van Jazani, I mean, I liked Peter Davison. I liked him. I liked him as a doctor, but it was Kate Van Jazani that made me go, if they only wrote him like this the whole time, why is he going? This would have been, this is great. This would be perfect. And so that's why I thought this.
You know what? It's also like when Denise Crosby left Next Gen after one season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People, like I forget what episode it was, but it's like, oh, if she had more writing like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Skin of Evil. Because that's when
no, I'm not talking about when she left. I'm talking about.
Oh, you're talking about Enterprise.
Like Naked Now?
You're talking about when she came back on the Enterprise C?
I don't know.
It was
I'm trying to remember.
Enterprise. It was
yesterday's Enterprise. Right.
Enterprise.
I don't remember the exact episode. I don't remember the exact episode, and it may have been before she left. But it was like, oh, if there had been more of this, then then this would have been, then maybe she could have stayed.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it feels like Denise Crosby again. Like if Jodie had more, and then the other thing, like I stand by the fact that Chibnall, in trying to be like, one of the things that the Chibnall era is missing is a sense of fun. Like there was the episode with the birds. The episode with the flock of birds.
Yeah.
The episode
the Praxius with the plastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the episode with the birds, the episode with and then the episode with the resort that turned out to be Earth.
Yeah. Orphan 55.
Yeah, Orphan 55. It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use Doctor Who to beat you over the head with
issues.
With issues. Yeah, I'm just gonna beat it over and then also, like, I feel like the another one for me was season 1. What was it? The Sarunga Conundrum?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's one of those. That's another one of those episodes where it's like, good grief, man.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna have like I will, to this day, I will die on this hill. My nickname for the Pating is not Stitch, because it's like Stitch. It's Stitch and Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
That's what the Pating was, and it's like that episode could have been hilarious.
Yeah.
It could have been this great hilarious episode, but instead Chibnall tries to treat it like he's doing Alien, and it just doesn't. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. And then we have two episodes. We had two somewhat historical episodes in the same season, with one episode, with like 2 out of the 3 historical episodes that we got in Jodie's first season,
right,
were let me beat you over the head with what's going on.
Yeah.
Rosa did it really well. It was really powerful. Demons of the Punjab was, I'm going to beat you over the head with this. Because it was about the same thing. It's like, let's take a serious look at this historical moment. And then we had, what's it called? The Witchfinders. Which that one was actually, it's like, oh, holy moly, Chibnall can actually chill. He can actually tell a chill, fun story.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was. It was this fun story. Alan Cummings as the king hitting on Ryan. That was like, that was hilarious.
Didn't someone else write Witchfinders? I don't think it was Chibnall.
You know what? But Well, if so, that puts my point even more so.
Yeah.
Okay. Because somebody else wrote it, so they were like, we're gonna have time travel. Let's have a blast with it. Instead of being like, okay, we're gonna, this is a serious moment in time, so we're being serious here. We're not going to joke.
Yeah.
How dare you joke?
I want to give credit to the writer of Witchfinders, Joy Wilkinson.
Oh, yeah.
Need to put that in there. And I know she wrote the not Target, but the BBC adaptation for the book too, I think.
Ooh,
Yeah.
see, now I want to read that book.
Yeah.
I want to read that book then.
Yeah.
Because if it was written by the same lady who wrote the episode, then it's like,
I think it was.
Oh.
I could be wrong.
Nice.
But it could be wrong. But it definitely, like your point, because it wasn't written by him. Yeah.
Yeah. Now my point was even more so enforced because he didn't. Yeah, it was not written by him, so we didn't have. Yeah, it's okay. Oh,
we're getting close to the end of this. This is one of our longest episodes in years, I think.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack.
I know.
This wasn't.
I want to go back to Disney for a second, Disney Plus, because and something Russell said about him wanting to do like a multiverse, a Doctor Who multiverse with new shows. And yeah, Disney's great at that. Star Wars, Marvel, there's a multiverse on this. But do we really want Doctor Who without the Doctor? Well, okay. Let's try this, because I think there's a great show. Because they had Sarah Jane adventures, and you had Class, and you had Torchwood. He showed up, but he wasn't the star. How about the thing that Kate brings up at the anonymous meeting, getting old companions to work with UNIT? I think that would make a good show. Yeah, or you know what? And Janet and other actors and actresses to do the characters again and do new situations on Earth. Yeah. And I think that would be good. Done well. Well, exactly. Yeah. Well, like Torchwood and Sarah Jane were done very well. Yes. And I think Russell could steer that. I think Russell could help be the new, I don't know. Could Russell be the new Kevin Feige?
It depends.
Yes.
It depends. It depends. And you know what? And then here's the thing. You don't even have to make it shows. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even have to be shows. Because who's to say that you can't do? Who's to say that you can't have, like, for example, you could have some one-offs. Yeah. Like, for example, you could have a one-off with, freaking, with Joe Martin. Yes, you could have a Joe Martin. You could have a Joe Martin one-off. You could have a one-off with the Eighth Doctor. I was going to say I have a series for it, Tales of the Eighth Doctor. Yeah, totally a series. A series. I like the idea of a series of, for lack of a better word, of series of specials. Yeah, that could be kind of fun, and it would be different, and it would bring us a different kind of viewpoint. Yeah, the biggest problem would be if they would try to recreate, and I think that's where Torchwood and Sarah Jane worked, is that they weren't trying to be Doctor Who. Yeah, they were trying to, I'm going to make an awful pun here. They were a companion piece to it. Yeah. You know what? That's what they should do. That's what they should do. Yeah. And now that Disney's throwing money at the show, they can do this. Yeah, do these little specials, have these little one-offs. And, just you do that. You do that. You could have a bunch of one-offs. You could have maybe a movie, like another Eighth Doctor movie. Okay. You could have a Fugitive Doctor movie. You could have a movie that has, you could have a UNIT movie, which is Kate Stewart, Osgood, maybe some, maybe a couple of classic companions, or maybe some new characters. Because they're now working for UNIT. Yeah. You could have. I mean, it could just be. You could even have a UNIT movie where all it is Kate. Yeah. And introduce some new and
like they do on the Big Finish audios.
Right. Introduce some new characters, or even bring in, even go so far as to bring in a new, like a character who has only been in like audios or books or something, and give them their
give
for
Benny
example,
Summerfield a show.
Right. Or even here's the thing. Like, for example, I was recently, I got inspired. I went to HBO Max. I put New Who, and I was watching Time Heist.
Oh yeah, that was good.
We have first of all, we have Cy in Time Heist. I mean, who's to say he isn't running around? The other thing is we have another one that we have is in Time Heist we have a cameo thanks to Cy bringing in downloading all that information on the worst criminals in the galaxy. We had a cameo by Absalom Dak, Dalek Hunter.
Oh yeah, we did. We did. Yeah.
How about what?
I'd give him a show.
Let's pull the trigger. Let's pull the trigger and have Absalom. Like, again, it could even just be a little move. It could be a special like Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
Just a one shot.
Oh,
here's him facing Daleks. And it's a shame. It's a shame that he's gone. Because we could also have, and it's thank you, Big Finish, for giving him some room to do this. The War Doctor.
Yeah.
Or I mean, even because and this may sound sacrilegious. How about getting somebody to play the younger version of the War Doctor? We're talking like a fresh.
Ooh.
Isn't that the War Doctor Begins, the Big Finish?
Right. We have
so like someone on TV, someone
but on TV, like a visual, and it doesn't even have to. And it's like you don't even have to contradict the Big Finish audios.
Right.
You just have it take place after the Big Finish audios, where he's still young enough that he doesn't have to look exactly like like John Hurt.
If there's one thing that they really need to do, at least in my opinion, is that they need to get those animation teams and get on those reconstructions.
Now that Disney they could pay their good animation.
Or even, reconstruct, and even, you could reconstruct these episodes or even do new stuff.
Yes.
Like you could take
Dreamland and
like that. You could do that. You could have. I mean, it's just the possibilities. The possibilities.
Which is really kind of nice.
You could actually do animations of Big Finish audios.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm loving it.
Yes, I like that.
So imagine and get working on it because. But imagine, like, for example, when we had the 50th anniversary, the way that Big Finish celebrated is they had light at the end.
Yes.
Imagine an animated light at the end with the voices of Peter Davidson, Tom Baker.
Oh, wow.
Imagine.
Wow.
Oh, and you know what? Okay, I'm going to go even one further. Because even though this has been done in books and Big Finish, imagine animated The Missing Adventures.
That would be
Ooh.
Nice.
Imagine for a moment. The Nightmare Fair, Mission to Magnus. Imagine them animated, starring the voices of Nicola Bryant and Colin Baker. And then introducing as the Celestial Toymaker, Donnie Yen or Ken Watanabe, or this is the possibilities are endless.
This could be
So we're not hating the Disney Plus idea.
Just don't let them in the writing room. That's it.
Well, just have them follow the same thing that they've been doing with Marvel and Star Wars.
Yeah.
Let Kevin Feige, let the powers that be at Lucasfilm, let them work.
Yeah.
Let them work. Yeah. And you will get, and you will see what happens. Just let them do their job.
Okay. So
love it.
Mark Who 42, thank you. We're gonna probably end about here. We're glad you were listening. I just want to bring one more thing up because we like the Disney idea. Next year is the 60th anniversary. which is the Diamond anniversary. What do you guys think of the Diamond logo coming back?
I wish they could have colored it differently. That's just me. I don't like the yellow. I wish that they could have just kept it just a normal stale blue, as it was when Pertwee and Baker was. But I like it. I'm glad that they're acknowledging that it's the 50th anniversary of the Diamond logo.
Yeah.
Or as the golden age, as they say.
Yeah. It's cool. It's a cool little throwback logo.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it'll stay past the 60th, or you think it's just because of the Diamond anniversary?
I think it's gonna stay.
I hope it stays.
Yeah.
I hope it stays.
We'll see.
I saw a version of it because they have that. There's a version of it that's like horizontal. That doesn't look good. Because the Who is still the Who, and it's worse than the Jodie version. The horizontal version is all I can say.
Okay, so I have a question now, right? The way how the Diamond logo works, right? At least in the intro, right? Is that the intro is fitted toward the Diamond logo, right?
Yeah.
So are they going to do the same thing? Because I can't imagine seeing the Diamond logo just in a normal, like, widescreen thing, like how they just showed the picture. Like, my mind's like locked seeing the walls fitted as the Diamond logo, if that makes sense.
Well, you know what? We'll find out next year.
We'll see. Yeah.
We'll find out next year. Okay, folks, that's the end of the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast look at Power of the Doctor. We hope you enjoyed it. I want to say goodbye for myself, Mark Baumgarten. Let's let everyone else say their goodbyes. Go ahead.
Goodbye, Chibnall.
Now it's time to say goodbye to Chris Chibnall. Jodie was a great doctor and deserved better.
My sentiments exactly.
Yeah, that was beautiful, Ed. I like that.
I'm not the Sherman brothers, but I do the best I can.
So, like I said, I'm Mark Baumgarten. That was Eduardo M. Freyre, Vicky Jakubowski, and Zion Quiros. Join us next week. We've got a brand new show for you. Until then, allons-y, which fits totally now.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Thanks for listening to Mark Who 42's Universe with hosts Mark Baumgarten, Eduardo M. Freyre, Zion Quiros, and Vicky Jakubowski. This program was produced and directed by Mark Baumgarten. If you'd like to get in touch with us, please go to our Facebook page or email us at markwho42s.universe@gmail.com. You can listen to old shows at our website, markwho42.com, or even our YouTube page, markwho42.
Mark Who 42's Universe, copyright 2022.